There is a kind of optimism that only becomes possible after everything is already on fire. Not real optimism, not hope, not like looking out the window watching the comets fall, checking the clock and saying, well, isn't even 5 yet, but I'm gonna head out. That's Happy Days. It's a song about the apocalypse, but more specifically, it's about the smile we put on when the truth becomes too enormous to process. Because sometimes laughter is wisdom. Sometimes laughter is the final hiding place of a terrified person. Welcome to the Supermoon Grimoire Chapter 4, Happy Days, Track 5, Hour 5 of Ra's journey through the duat. The full moon, the holy fool, the false Albedo, the cracked sun mask, the moment everything appears illuminated, but we have not yet learned the difference between real light and reflected light. The song begins with the narrator opening his eyes and immediately finding the apocalypse waiting for him. Apocalyptic headlines, bombs falling, comets in the sky, the entire world going to shit with almost admirable punctuality. There's no gradual reveal, no heroic preparation, no cinematic speech about saving humanity. He wakes up, sees the end of civilization, and responds like an employee whose shift has become unreasonable. It isn't even close to 5. I'm clocking out while I'm still alive. That line became the doorway into the entire song. The narrator is not denying that everything is collapsing. He sees it clearly. But instead of meeting the disaster with terror, courage, or grief, he meets it with exhausted humor. The world is ending. Management has clearly lost control of the situation. And he would like to use the remainder of his paid time off. That's the comedy of Happy Days. Very heavily influenced by Robert Anton Wilson, the cosmic joke, the cosmic relief. And this is comedy that's become something darker because the title is not a celebration. It's the punchline. Now, the archetype inside this song is the Holy Fool. The Holy Fool appears across mythology, religion, theater, and psychology as this figure who can speak truths that more respectable people are afraid to say. The king is surrounded by advisors who flatter him. The fool is the one person permitted to tell him that the kingdom is burning. He survives through humor. He exposes hypocrisy through absurdity. He laughs at the structures everybody else has mistaken for reality, and that can be sacred. Humor can break the spell of fear. It can interrupt the ego. It can give us enough distance from suffering to survive it. But, as we've learned, every archetype has a shadow, right? And the shadow of the Holy Fool is the laugh that prevents feeling. Now, there's a difference between laughing because you understand the absurdity of life, the cosmic joke, and laughing because you're terrified of admitting that something hurts, the avoidance. Now, there's a difference between acceptance and resignation. There's a difference between surrendering the illusion of control and simply deciding that nothing matters. That's where the fool becomes dangerous. He can reveal the truth to the entire kingdom, but he can also keep making jokes while the kingdom collapses around him. Full moon and borrowed light, Happy Days belongs to the full moon. Full moon appears complete. Nothing is hidden. The entire face of the moon is visible, right? But the moon does not generate the light we see. It's actually reflecting it. And that is the warning inside this chapter. Maximum visibility is not the same as illumination. You can see your behavior clearly and still refuse to change it. You can understand your trauma intellectually and still live inside of it. You can learn the vocabulary of healing and use that language to actually avoid healing. You can say everything happens for a reason while refusing to grieve what happened. You can call your numbness peace. You can call your avoidance acceptance. You can call your resignation enlightenment. The fool mistakens the mirror for the sun. That is why the alchemical stage of this song is false albedo. In alchemy, albedo is the whitening, the cleansing that follows the darkness of negrito. It represents purification, clarity, and the washing away of what no longer serves us. But Happy Days has not reached the true white stage. This is false albedo, counterfeit illumination, fool's gold, pyrite shining brightly enough to be mistaken for something valuable. The symbol for this chapter is the smiling sun mask with a crack running through the face. From a distance, it looks radiant, but if you get closer, you can see the darkness underneath. That image lives directly inside the final chorus. It's all going down like a city in flames, all wrapped up in a glory of blaze. There's something beautiful about the destruction. The flames produce light. The collapse becomes a spectacle, and the narrator almost romanticizes it. He turns the ending into an image, a blaze of glory, a swan song, a final joke. But beauty does not make destruction harmless. Light does not always mean salvation. Sometimes the brightest thing in the sky is the object burning toward you. Now, there's something interesting that happens throughout this song, and it was a clever take. Musically, the song carries contradiction. It begins with a whistle. Bass and guitar enter beneath it, and then the whole thing almost feels playful, like somebody strolling through the ruins with their hands in their pockets. The whistle is the holy fool in its purest form. Humanity has built civilizations, religions, technologies, governments, and weapons powerful enough to erase itself. And one person still walking through the wreckage whistling. There is something strangely heroic in that, but there is also something deeply unsettling because the groove keeps moving while everything in the lyric falls apart. The music does not panic, it shrugs, it even struts, right? And I think most of us understand that response more than we would like to admit. We scroll through disasters every day. War, fire, floods, violence, collapse. Then the next post is a dog wearing sunglasses. We laugh. We keep scrolling. The human nervous system was never designed to carry the suffering of the entire planet in its pocket, a 24-hour news cycle. We're not meant for that. Humor helps us survive that overload, but eventually we have to ask, is the joke helping me face reality, or is it helping me avoid responsibility? Now, one of the most important lines in the song is, couldn't we have waited till dawn to start singing the song of the swan? The swan song is the final performance before death. But the narrator is asking for delay. Could the ending have waited? Could we have been given one more night? One more ordinary morning? One more chance to experience the world before we began composing its funeral? That line briefly breaks through the mask. Behind the sarcasm is grief. Behind Happy Days is a person who does not actually want the world to end. He simply does not know what else to do with the knowledge that it might. So he jokes. He clocks out. He looks for higher ground. He asks to be taken somewhere safe, even while admitting that eventually all of us drown. The fool knows there may be no permanent higher ground, but some part of him still reaches for it. Now, the shadow of Happy Days. Central questions inside this chapter are simple. Where am I pretending that everything is fine? What do I laugh about because I'm afraid to feel it? And perhaps the most uncomfortable one, what am I calling acceptance that is actually resignation? Now, the lesson of the Holy Fool is not that we should stop laughing. Laughter is the best medicine, right? The world would become unbearable almost immediately. The lesson is to make sure the laughter opens the door to truth instead of closing it. Laugh at the apocalypse. Laugh at your ego. Laugh at the absurd machine humanity has constructed and then climbed inside. But after the laughter, do something. Tell the truth. Grieve what deserves to be grieved. Protect what can still be protected. Love what has not yet disappeared. Now, the ritual here for Happy Days is write down 3 things. 1 fire you have pretended not to see. 1 joke you use to avoid feeling. And 1 action you can take before dawn. It does not have to save the world. It only has to prove that you have not completely surrendered your participation in it. Because the Holy Fool is not powerless. His power is that he can see the absurdity without becoming fully consumed by it. He laughs, and then he acts. Happy Days stands beneath the brightest moon on the record, but it is borrowed light. The smile is beginning to crack. The false gold is beginning to reveal its true nature, and after the full moon comes the accounting. The next song, Cold-Blooded, is the waning gibbous, the old king, the pattern that knows itself and continues anyway. Happy Days asks what we laugh about to avoid feeling. Cold-Blooded asks what we continue choosing after we can no longer claim ignorance. The fool has told the joke already. Now, the king must answer for the kingdom. I'll see you in the next chapter.